Buddy B here, and I'm here with Selly. Now, she is a wonderful cosplayer, and I actually have the opportunity to interview her here at Anthem Coffee, which is a great local coffee shop here in Tacoma, so make sure you check it out for everyone that's peeping the video. But, to just get started right at the get-go, I'm going to start asking her, how long exactly have you been doing cosplay?
Oh my god, what's the math on this? I've been cosplaying since 2009, so over 10 years. And it has been a ride.
Imagine. Jeez. And 10 years is a long time, so what kind of made you take that very first step into becoming a cosplayer?
I think my first exposure to cosplay was through my older brother. He was into it like hardcore, like casting and smithing his own like metal belt buckles and junk. And then one of my good friends was going to anime conventions, and she invited me, and I thought, well, everybody dresses up at those. I have to, clearly. So that's kind of how I stepped my foot into that. I went to my first con, and I wore a costume somebody gave me. And then after that, I was like, I got to make my own.
Yep. I'm going to look even better than before.
Yeah.
So having that long of time to be able to create your cosplay and, seeing from where you first started to where you are at right now, do you feel like, what do you feel is your best accomplishment in that time?
Last year, during the pandemic, I submitted to my very first competition, and I won. But I didn't just win. They bumped me up a category from novice to journeyman because I had never entered anything before. And I felt just like absolutely honored that somebody thought my work was that good, because I've never had it professionally judged.
Yeah.
So that's like still on my mind, and I will never not just swoon.
Never understand that.
It was quite the high.
All right. So because we're talking about all these fun things that you've accomplished, is there a particular genre that you do when you cosplay? Whether it's video games, anime, manga, or comics, anything of the sort.
I cosplay from a lot of different mediums, pretty much just whatever appeals to me, whatever is fun, whatever I like. Some people will stick to a singular genre, but for me it's anime, video games, cartoons, comic books, you name it. In particular lately I've been doing a lot of Final Fantasy cosplay, but also I cosplay Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And she's surprised to show you guys in a little bit too. So, since you cosplay with you have such a wide variety, were you ever able to collaborate with any other cosplayers so far, or is that in the works?
That's something that I want to do, but haven't really started it yet. I've been slowly growing my online presence and making more friends in the cosplay community, but I really struggle with video content, which is what's big right now and is easiest to do, remote collaborations that way. And I haven't found something that I really enjoy filming yet. So I haven't done any collabs, but I've definitely talked to some folks about making it a goal.
Yeah. And it's crazy because some people, don't like to step outside their comfort zone, and being able to dress up and be somebody else and going out, can be really nerve-wracking. But what was it like for your first time going to a convention and doing cosplay?
I think the best part actually is being somebody else. When I went to my very first convention, I hated having photos taken. When I went to the con, it was a completely different experience though. In real life, I didn't want any photos taken. I don't have very many photos from myself of when I was a teen.
Yes.
But I dressed up as Harley Quinn in remarkably a very bad costume, and I went to Emerald City Comic Con 2009, and the reception was just amazing. Everybody was super stoked and excited to see somebody who loved this, at the time, obscure character. And I had a photo taken every 5 minutes, and I was being her, I wasn't being me, but it made me feel really good that people loved this thing that I loved, and I got just hooked. After that, it was no end in sight. It was just too good, too nice. It was a phenomenal experience.
And so, when we see cosplay, we see a look that's fully put together, that is finished, that you put all this effort and time into. Most people don't realize the process of what goes into creating a cosplay. Do you kind of want to let people know a little bit about that?
Yeah, so cosplay is actually a really broad spectrum. While I make my own costumes, not everybody does. So what it takes to put together a look can be anywhere from buying a costume that you like that's available online and putting it on, dressing it up, feeling good, to spending like upwards of a year delicately crafting every single little piece and learning a whole bunch of new techniques to put together something that's tailor-made for yourself, like your own body shape and type. And so like there's a lot that goes into it, but it doesn't have to be like beyond your own personal scope either.
Yeah. Now, the next question is kind of fun because I'm going to ask you about some of your favorite cosplays. But she actually brought a prop to kind of show everybody that ties into this question and the last one about creating your own idol. Do you want to kind of just show it off and talk about it for a second?
Yeah, so I can elaborate a little bit about the crafting part.
Look at that. Yeah.
Haha. So I make my own stuff, and this prop of mine is for my classic Harley Quinn costume. It uses a variety of techniques, some that I've never seen in other people's props before, and some that are really beginner friendly actually. So this is super lightweight because it's made from EVA foam, and if you look online there's a million tutorials now about how to use this really versatile material. It's not expensive. You cut it and you glue it together, like yeah, and it's an approachable crafting method for new cosplayers. But I literally just made a barrel shape out of this EVA foam, and these little lines here, I sketched them all out, and then I cut into them, not all the way through, but just like, cut it in lightly with a razor, and you heat it up, and it makes those gaps open, and that you can like put a wash in there to make it look like wood grain instead. But what makes my prop unique to me is the ends. They're squishy. It's made with foam, like cushion foam for like a seat or like a mattress, so it's like real soft. And then I took silicone, like what you'd make like a mold out of or something, and I brushed it on here, and then I like painted it with oil paint. So the foam is covered with squishy, stretchy silicone stuff, so that it doesn't look like foam, like whole texture,
It looks like a real match, yeah. Real drum.
Because I wanted to be able to bop people with it, for effect.
Here, you can bop me with some video, yeah.
Yeah, so that was something I had to figure out on my own. It was a little bit of like engineering, but it was really fun. You get to be really creative. And this is actually part of what makes like my Harley Quinn costume one of my favorites. And it's kind of like, if you've seen classic Harley, her outfit is like a bodysuit, and it's kind of like wearing pajamas. When you're walking around a convention and you don't have to like have any crazy armor bits hanging off of you, no belts, no buckles, you're just like, you're comfy, But another costume of mine that I really love that I could never like choose between it and Harley is Rosa Farrell from Final Fantasy IV, because it was a really big labor of love. As an artist and a crafter, I spent 9 months of active crafting and like 5 months of planning. Or not 5 months, 5 years. Correction. Because there was a lot of techniques that costume required that I did not know how to do at the time. So like I could look at this character and see what it was going to take, and I knew that I needed to figure out how to do those things before I was ever going to accomplish making that piece. So there's like a lot of handmade beads, and there's resin cast armor, like shoulder pauldrons. There's a cape. There's a lace front wig that's styled. There's jewelry. There's leather belts. Like, I had to learn how to sew leather. Like, it's really hard on the hands.
So you can do it all.
Not all of it.
Now, since you're talking about all these it's this process that you have to go through to be able to create your own look, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like that every time. Would you have any advice for people that are up and coming cosplayers or people that kind of want to start or get their foot in the door but are kind of nervous?
Yes, I think the number one thing I want to say is just do it. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think the number one thing that keeps people from entering the cosplay scene, even though they're really interested in it, is what they see online. You might feel like there's an expectation of you that you have to be a certain level of cosplayer. Maybe you're scared of like certain harassment or like body shaming, or you don't think you'll measure up to the people that you admire who cosplay, or you feel like you can't do all this crafting and you don't want to do all this crafting. None of that has to stop you from enjoying the hobby, because like I said, it's a spectrum, and ultimately it's all about what's fun for you. So if you just want to dress up, you can start by finding your favorite costume online, purchase it, and jump in. You know, let yourself try it out, see what you like, see what you don't like, and get your toes wet, because if you do that, then you can like graduate, like get into the different aspects of it slowly. Find out if you really love makeup, or if you really love making video content, or if you really just want to craft things all the time. So yeah, just don't be afraid to get started.
And for those of you who are watching, I'll let you know I'm going to do a cosplay one day with my brother.
Yes!
Half Japanese, so he's going to do Itachi and I'm going to be Kisame. So that's going to be fun. Yeah.
You're gonna have to show me. I'm so excited.
Heck yeah. Now, before we let you go, do you have any shout outs you want to give, anything you want to let people know, social media you want to drop for the viewers?
Oh man. Shout out to my good friend Evie, who is also a cosplayer in the Pacific Northwest scene. She has been a huge motivator for me lately. And as far as social media goes, I'm currently on Instagram as @cosplay_cageling, but I use Twitter a lot too. The @ is Twee Trinkets. You know, a little bit of alliteration there. And if anybody is interested, I've been trying out a new app thing called Artful. It's for artists, and they recently made like a cosplay category and stuff. I think I use Twee Trinkets on there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you know where to find her. Make sure you check her out, because I know I have a lot of artists that watch this
Yes,
stuff.
please.
We have graffiti artists, we have acrylic painters, charcoal drawers, even musical artists. You know we all have to support each other, so show some love to her social media, Instagram, and everything, please. So yeah, thank you for letting me interview. This is awesome.
Thank you for inviting me, buddy. This was great.
Heck yeah. Well, I wish you a wonderful day, and you all stay tuned for the next video. So yeah, peace out.